Welcome to our Chamber Candidates Forum. I think this is our last in a series of forums that we've been doing, which will all be released and available on YouTube. We will be tagging your campaigns so you can share them broadly on your social media. And so I do want to thank Dave for joining us for the 70th District. In full disclosure, Mrs. Delegate McQuinn was supposed to join us today. She's had an emergency, a death in the family, and was not able to join. And so if we're able to do something later, we will do so. So I do want to give that disclosure in case folks watching are wondering. I also want to thank Mike King, who is with the Mike King Biz Show, the best business radio show, business-ish radio show around in our community. I had to get that right, Mike.
Yes, that's it.
Is our host for our Chamber Wednesday segment that we do every other week. And so I do want to thank him for stepping outside of his realm from not necessarily behind the mic, but in front of the screen too, to facilitate our forums for us. He's done most of them for us. And we are so grateful for his willingness to step into this pathway for us. Before we get started, Dave, you'll be able to give like an intro, a closing, and then we've got about a dozen questions or so that we will go through, and you'll have an opportunity to answer. It looks like you're at the inside of a ball field.
Actually, it's not a ball field, and this is the only area I can show y'all.
Yeah. But I appreciate the scenery and quite envious of the fact that you're outside. So
I was going to apologize for my background, and I'm actually about 1 mile inside Virginia, almost to North Carolina. So I apologize for not being in a more official location, I guess.
Well, it is the less than 2 weeks of the campaign season, and so everybody is on the move. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mike and let him take it away.
Thank you, Danielle. Dave, welcome. So this is the final candidate forum sponsored by the Chesterfield Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Mike King. My program is On the Mic with Mike. It is the best business radio program around, 5 to 7 a.m. on ESPN Richmond. That's just a shameless plug there. I'm sorry. So, Dave, we're gonna start off. If you could give us an opening statement, and then we'll dive into some of the questions that we have.
All right. My name is Dave Vaught. I am running for the 70th District House of Delegates seat. I have been living in Chesterfield since 72 or 3. I've been living in the 70th District since 1990. I moved into this area. I have owned several businesses. I own one now, an access controls business, and I won't plug mine. But that's I'm not a self-promoter, and that's part of what my problem is, I guess, in politics. I keep telling people I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a representative, and that's the biggest thing I can see is we need more representatives and less politicians. The fact that and I want to say this too before I get too far in it. My condolences go to Mr. Miss Quinn. I know what it is to lose somebody. I lost my mother about 2 years ago, and almost lost my stepfather here just recently. But you know, my condolences go out, and I almost hate to say this in making that statement. Is the reason that I'm running is because of the absenteeism. I haven't been able to communicate with Miss McQuinn, and it's not just me. It was other people that have discussed this as well. So that's my main reason for running is I want to be part of the community, not just a head of a House of Delegates, just not just a figurehead. It's not about what I can do. It's about what people want me to do.
Okay.
So that's all I got. You asked questions. It's 12, man. Y'all going to test me hard today. I should have crammed for this.
I'm sure you've lived. You got the answers on these. So here we're going to start off, with education and workforce development. Can you briefly explain your overall philosophy on K through 12 education?
K through 12 education is probably the most important. I know there's the CRT is big thing. I think that we all need to get back to basics. You need to teach the basics before we do anything else. Not a lot of people know how to balance their checkbook, much less than I know that's more in the latter part, but we need to go back to teaching that. We need to go back to giving the teachers more room to teach. Some of the best teachers I ever had did not go by the book, but they taught us what the real life situation were. They gave us the stuff that we needed, more so than what the book said we should know. The tests that are given, teaching to the standards of learning. It's got to stop. If you only give a standard, that's all they're going to teach to is a standard. We want them to teach us more, or teach our kids more. And that's the gist of it. I mean, we've got to turn their teachers loose. The teachers, I would say, are very well underfunded. We need to fund them better. We need to fund our schools better. I think there's lots of ways we can do that. I know that the next question would be how to do that. And I don't have all those answers, like you were saying, Mike. I don't have all the answers, but if we put people in the right positions and we open our minds to other people's ideas, we can come up with some great ideas.
All righty. Let me ask you, are you in favor of getting rid of SOLs? And what's your plan on getting us away from teaching to the test, the SOL, and focusing more on teaching to content and curriculums?
There again, I would like to see the SOLs go away. I remember teaching or being taught to those. I don't know if they were SOLs back when I was in school, but they had a test that would come around once or twice a year, and our teacher was graded on whether we passed that test or not. And we didn't learn, or I didn't learn the same way a lot of kids did. I learned more by seeing it than I did reading it. And I know that's a lot of what needs to happen is we need to look at our kids and find out how they learn as much as how we're teaching them. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, I would like to get rid of the SOLs, and start working towards letting the teachers teach their subjects. They went to school, they learned. Let's let them teach.
Let me ask you along those same lines. What is the role of K through 12 education in getting students ready for the workforce?
There again, shop class, home economics, all that's gone anymore. And I don't know if it's because they're scared of somebody getting hurt in the schools, which it did happen. But we need to go back to helping prepare. There again, there are tests, there are aptitude tests that we can put out there and find out. I had a gentleman that sent me an email in Milwaukee. He said that in Illinois, they are or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they have different schools for different mindsets. So if you were college bound, they had a school or a high school that you would attend. If you were going to go into the workforce of grunt work or blue collar type stuff, they had different schools for different type of aptitudes or different ways that people were going to go and continue their life. So I think that's probably something we need to look at.
Alrighty, this is the Chesterfield Candidates Forum. We're here with Dave Vaught, who is running for the 70th district. So Dave, one question here along the same lines. Can you talk about the importance of continuing to support training centers like CCWA and other community colleges?
That's something that I went to a community college. I went to John Tyler and got a certification in welding. I think that there's something that's floated in my mind that might be, I don't know if it's attainable or not, but it's something to think about. If we give education and maybe not free, but very low, if not free, cost to the students with an exchange that they come back and they maintain that field, whatever field it is. If it's nursing, they give us 2 to 3 years. If it's welding, they give us 2 to 3 years. If it's truck driving, give us 2 or 3 years. Whatever the aptitude is that they choose in that trade school, that they give us that much time or give us time in that field to pay it back. Right now, we're hurting for truck drivers. We're hurting for nurses. We're going to be hurting for teachers and stuff like that if we aren't already. So let's give them an avenue. And I know that childcare was one of the things that was brought up. If we do give them education, how do we compensate for the childcare? We need to figure out how we can fund that. Because a lot of the people that are not in school are not there because they can't get childcare. So we need to try to figure out how we can do it. I don't have the answers. But I am open-minded enough to listen to answers, and maybe we come up with something.
This is the Chesterfield Candidate Forum. Dave Vaught is here with us, running for the 70th District. Mrs. McLean could not be here with us today. She had a death in the family. And so we are here with Dave Vaught. Dave, we're going to touch on healthcare affordability. A significant issue facing business is rising healthcare costs. One way that companies can combat healthcare costs is through group insurance plans. Do you support the expansion of group insurance plans like multiple employer welfare arrangements, those are known as MEWAs, to make healthcare more affordable?
I don't know what all the abbreviations are, but I would call it a co-op. Why we can't have a co-op? You know, if it's just like co-op power, just like co-op up in the mountains when they go to the co-op and they have all their farmer and they're all join this co-op and their pricing comes down. Why can't we do that? We're all in business together. You know, one business will always feed off of another business. Well, let's let us do that. Let's put it all together, put it all in one pot, and bring the prices down. That's the only way I can see it affording it.
We are here with Dave Vaught. So we're going to move over to economic development and business climate. Over the past several years, we've seen Virginia adopt a number of clean energy policies that increase costs for businesses. How do we balance environmental stewardship with the competitiveness of Virginia's economy?
I think that's common sense. You've got to restrict what you're putting into the environment, whether it be air pollution, water pollution, or whatever. You've got to try to eliminate that. There's ways of doing it. We've got to try to work together. There again, there are businesses that make a living doing that, and there's businesses that need it. So let's put everybody in business. Let's all start working together and figure out the proper way to do it in a cost-effective manner. You're spending very little to get rid of it in the ground, but then you go back in 20 years and you got to spend billions of dollars to dig it back up. Well, let's spend half of that and get it where it needs to be before it goes away in 20 years.
All righty. The next question: how do we recalibrate policies aimed at protecting workers' rights, particularly around worker classification, to ensure that entrepreneurship and business growth are not stymied?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have an answer for that. I know that a lot of people are trying. I am an entrepreneur. I am a business owner. I work for myself by myself. I have no employees. And one of the main reasons is probably because of the costs that are involved in that. So, you know, there again, that's one of the questions that I would have to find out what other people's ideas are and utilize them.
Already, Dave Vaught running for the 70th District. Let me ask you, so housing prices invariably increase as economic development accelerates. What's the role of state policy in ensuring the availability of affordable housing in light of population growth?
There again, it all goes back to what's affordable. The affordable part is the key. And I go back to the quality of life. You know, what's affordable for me is not affordable for somebody that's doesn't have a job or has 5 kids and stuff like that. So we need to reevaluate what's affordable. Put people in the situation where they can make it affordable. The businesses are back to where it needs to be. The key. We need to put people back to work. We need to help them get to work. And that way we can make affordable housings pretty easy for everyone. If people have money, what's affordable changes. So that's where I'm looking at is if we put people to work, get them working, get them getting to where they're making a paycheck, their quality of life goes up, their value or what they can afford goes up. And that's how we're going to make it affordable.
This is the Chesterfield Chamber of Commerce Delegates Forum. I'm your moderator, Mike King. We are here with Dave Vaught, who is running for the 70th District. Okay, Dave, so here we go. We have some of the acronyms you just spoke about. So how do we optimize the relationship between the VEDP, which is the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, and local EDAs, those are Economic Development Authorities, and the IDA, which is an Industrial Development Authority? How do we optimize the relationship between them to ensure that Virginia maintains its status as the best state to do business?
Well, the main thing is to cut out a whole lot of the paperwork, I guess, as far as that. Everybody has an agenda, and every one of the alphabet, and we can go. There's a bunch of alphabetical agencies that they all have what they want. And my whole thing is we need to stop trying to get what we want and start getting what we need. What is required to do these things? What is the not the minimum, but what is the standard? What is acceptable to get all these things to work together? Not everybody is going to get $1 million to do this or $2 million to do that. Not everybody should have to fund one thing or another. So I think if we all work together and stop demanding more, I think we'll be the first place to start.
Last couple of questions here. So we're talking state versus local authority. 39 states, including Virginia, operate under the Dillon Rule. What's your general outlook on the future of the Dillon Rule? Do you think that Virginia should expand the autonomy of localities by allowing them to operate and apply for home rule status? And we'll just go in. The Dillon Rule means that local localities have the authority granted to them by the state government.
So I think that local government should have rule over local. The state should have rule over the state. There again, we go back to the feds have rules, but if the states don't like what the feds do, then we don't have to do it. So at the same time, isn't that the way it should be with the local government as well? Within reason. Everything should have a reason, an acceptable level. So, yeah, I think a locality should be able to make its own mind up as far as what it wants to do without being penalized from the state.
Alrighty, last question. Do you support tax equalization between counties and cities?
I can't say as I do. The cities and the counties, Larry, again, your quality of life situation there, your quality of life for people that live in the city is different from the ones that live in the county. The county has more land involved and less buildings as far as, so you can own 100 acres and it have the same value as a house inside the city of Richmond that has a quarter acre or not even a quarter acre. So the taxing and stuff like that, no, I don't think it should be the same. I don't see how that can be fair.
All righty. It has been Dave Vaught. My name is Mike King. So, Dave, we're going to give you a couple minutes on a wrap up so that you can leave the voters with that information.
Again, my name's Dave Vaught, and I want people to know that I don't have all the answers, but I am willing to listen to my constituents. There again, not everybody is going to get everything they want, but if we all can just get what we need, we can survive. We can get through this and everything else. So my way to get a hold to me is Dave Vaught for Delegate, and it's FOR Delegate at gmail.com, or you can go for Vaught for Delegate on Facebook and Vaught for Delegate .com on my website. If you have questions, contact me. I will do my utmost to answer the questions, and I will be available for the constituents in my area.
All righty, Mike King here, Dave Vaught with us. He has been with us regarding running for the 70th district. This is the Chesterfield Chamber Delegates Forum. I'm going to turn it over to Danielle from the Chesterfield Chamber.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dave. Again, Dave, we appreciate you pulling over and taking time out of the day to let the constituents in the 70th district know your thoughts and ideas. Happy last 12 days of campaign season, as I know it will be a mad rush as we head into November 2nd, Election Day. Again, Mike, thank you for wrapping us up and finishing this format with us. We were thrilled to be able to bring this to you all in a virtual format that will have a longer shelf life so you can share it and then really get the ideas and thoughts of what candidates want to do in your respective districts. Again, thank you for joining the Chesterfield Chamber Candidates Forum.
Thank you for having me.